Welcome to Tea Time with Dr. K, where we share stories that inspire transformation, celebrate victories, and dive deep into the journey of health and wellness. Grab your tea and let's build a better you, one conversation at a time. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Cruz. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tea Time with Dr. K. We have an amazing special guest here today, Reggie. Reggie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you know, he's been my patient for how long?
About 3 years now.
3 years now.
4?
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
And you guys stay tuned because we have something very special coming up discussing what he does, and that's related to dentistry. So in the meantime, tell me how you first found about, my practice.
So I moved down to Dallas, Texas in January of 2021.
2021, okay.
Picked up and moved to, bring my business down here and needed to do some self-care.
Yeah.
I love my teeth very much.
It has beautiful teeth,
Thank you. And then...
You haven't had much of a processed sugar, you can tell too.
Facts. This is very true. So, I was just doing research around what dentists were around me, and your Frisco practice was like 2 minutes away. Read all the reviews, I looked at all the pictures. Since I'm in tech, I loved all the technology you had in the office, so that's what made me decide to go and visit.
Well, thank you. And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. And then how has been your experience so far in my practice with myself and my team?
It's been great. That's why I keep coming back.
That's good, right?
And even this facility has way more tech than the last one.
That's right.
You even have a little gym here if I ever need to go get a pump in.
I mean, he does do workout, like lift heavy weights.
From time to time.
What is the heaviest one you have lifted?
Ever?
Yeah.
And what?
I see.
Bench,
I don't know. Yeah,
or
bench.
squat?
Whatever. Bench.
I've done 500 bench before.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I've done...
And you're still alive?
Yeah. My body hurts. My back isn't grateful for it. My elbows, my wrists.
No.
But I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
Won't do it again.
No.
That was definitely the younger me.
I mean, he's still young. How old are you, Reggie?
36.
He's 36. I mean, come on. You're still young.
My body feels like it's 50 years old. Very good.
That's because you have a lot of companies and you have a lot of things that you're managing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very tired.
Yeah.
But it'll all be worth it. Everything we do is fun. I enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I know, at our last visit, you came in and you wanted to get a cleaning done. And then you had something on your leg. And I said, what's going on with this?
Yeah. I recently, April 1st, I completely ruptured my patellar tendon and my kneecap split in 2 pieces.
Yeah.
So I had... No, it was not good. It was not a good experience. It happened while I was trying to do cardio and play some football.
Ugh.
Happened in the first 5 minutes of the game, which was super embarrassing. But drove myself to the hospital in a manual car with the complete...
He wouldn't ask anybody else to drive him. I mean, there are men out there that they think they can, it's embarrassing to ask for help, and he's one of them.
It wasn't that it was embarrassing. I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought I dislocated my kneecap.
Not that bad. Just dislocation would have been just fine too.
Yeah. So I was like on the field trying to push it back in, and it wasn't working. So I was like, damn, I got to go to the hospital now. So then I ended up driving myself in my car, in my manual, and then had the x-rays, and they told me like, yeah, you have a fully ruptured patellar tendon. You need surgery as soon as humanly possible. And
you have to have surgery, in 10 days or something?
Within 10 days, because after 10 days, they said you can have, you risk more permanent damage because my tendon is like the longer it disconnects, the stiffer it gets. So when you sew it back, or when they reattach it, it'll be a lot more difficult to get that mobility again, and you never may get that full mobility. So, it was a pretty scary month of April. So I had surgery the 11th, which is 5 days before my birthday, which is awesome.
Gosh.
Only missed a week and a half in the gym though. I went to the gym on crutches. I did not care.
And then you come here for a cleaning, and I was like, did I not tell you have to have antibiotics? Because I'm not going to have you go through an infection, potential infection that is happening from a mouth cleaning to your knees. And so he's like, I think, I know you mentioned your mom. He said, he goes through a lot in life, but he goes, I think a lot of things that I actually get over and overcome is because my mom says a lot of prayer for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to remember, because I remember what he said. And I feel, he feels like at that moment I was there. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be doing a cleaning unless you go pick up the antibiotics, take it at least an hour for the cleaning appointment, and I'll do it for you then.
Yeah, she made me go home. Right?
I did.
If I wasn't wearing, I think I was wearing shorts, right? And that had the brace on it. But like, normally I wear sweatpants over it. So again, God's plan.
Yes.
You know, like it
Correct.
saved me from getting another infection. And I thank my mom because my mom be praying every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mom, for praying for him. What's your mom's name?
Margaret.
Margaret. Thank you, Mrs. Margaret, for praying for him, because he did wear shorts that day, and I saw what was going on his knees, and I said, we're definitely not doing your cleaning right now. You need to go and then come back, and I'll do it for you then. And so
I'm going to show her this podcast, and then she's going, I already see her reaction. I'm like, she's going to make this face. My baby.
Oh, you know what? No matter how old we get, we're going to be always their babies. That's true.
I'm a 36-year-old man, and my mom still makes me call her whenever I land, you know?
That's a great mom.
Right.
Thank you, Mrs. Margaret.
Yeah. I love her to death, though. I'll never change.
That's awesome. So now, and then, I mean, so the experience has been great so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a blast.
That's awesome. So, Reggie, and I know I change his name a lot because I like to say Reggae, but that's actually Reggie, right?
Yeah, it's actually Reggie.
Reggie. See, I keep changing the, but a while back he mentioned something about ozone and this sterilization thing, which I regretfully, I'll say I dismissed because I didn't know what he was talking about. And then he brought it up again to me this last appointment, and it was very, very interesting. And I'm honestly, I'm very proud of him because this takes a lot of hard work and dedication. And with his co-founder, Amir, and they put a lot of hours. I mean, we briefly had a conversation last night about where he's going to come on the podcast. He said, if I tell you I had, 3 hours of sleep the last week, every single day, you wouldn't believe me. So it takes a lot to build a company. He just hasn't built one. He has 3 businesses, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to go a little bit into what you discussed with me back in the dental appointment, and then maybe if we get a chance, we can talk about the other ones as well. And this is related to dentistry, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because it's going to help a lot of dentists. And, we are going more towards a holistic dentistry. And I think what he mentioned to me, I think that's why it resonated with me, well this time around, because I changed the way I practice dentistry over the past several years. And it's more towards holistic and treating sleep apnea and TMJ, and also holistic way of removing silver and mercury. But then this is kind of ties into it as well. So Reggie, go on, because this is your show and I want you to talk about what you do.
Of course. So my background is in mechanical and electrical engineering. That's what I went to college for. But me and my co-founder, Amir, we've been serial entrepreneurs our entire lives. Our passion is building hardware, right? Hardware, physical devices that interact with the world. And the thing is, we always want to build technologies that provide value, right? That solve problems. And we kind of do it in our very unique way.
Yeah.
Him and I have both started multiple companies in the past, had successful exits.
So you build them and then you sold them.
Yes, certain companies we've sold or that have been acquired.
Okay.
And then other ideas, we work as advisors to other startups and young companies as well.
Oh my gosh, how exciting!
So
I mean, doing that part.
Yeah, like between him and I, we have a very, again, I try to be humble. We have a pretty.
I don't want you to be humble. I want you to say it.
I'm not good at talking about myself.
I'm going to talk about him because he's going to be on my podcast very soon in the next 2-3 weeks.
Amir's the very talkative one. I'm more of the self-reserved listening one. But
well, you're the integrator and he's the visionary, or is both the same?
It's both. It's both. It's again, it's like we have a very good working dynamic. Both of us are visionaries, but we look at the vision from 2 different sides.
Yeah.
He's more of the, software electrical side of things, more of the, AI integrator, software, firmware, and not more of the physical product, right? How to actually make it a reality. And one of the reasons we moved down to Texas in the first place is because, I purchased my house and turned our house into the headquarters for everything we do.
Wow.
So I have my own machine shop. We have our own 3D print lab, virtual reality room.
I want to see it all.
Yeah, one day. We can even have a podcast from there one day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Kevin, would you do it?
So,
yes?
Yeah, like we have a ton of our own equipment. We have a hardware room, so we literally build everything out of our own house, at least for the prototypes. And then we have a network of suppliers,
Yeah.
right? Network of contract manufacturers that will build our devices, scale it up from the few dozens to the thousands.
Wow.
Our team is fully distributed and global. I think this week, I have to double check, but I think we just hit the 40-person mark. We have people working for us in South Korea.
40% mark. Tell me what that means.
No, we have 40 people working.
40. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. We have people working everywhere. South Korea.
I don't know. Maybe I should have just listened to him 3 years ago.
3 years ago, the story was very different. Then it was like, it was, I think maybe 4 of us, and we were working crazy hard. Like, we even had a term that we came up with called grind kana. Right?
What's that mean?
Which is I'm big into cars, and there's a rally car racer, Ken Block. Unfortunately, passed a few years ago, but he has this YouTube series called Gymkhana, to where they would shut down the city. He would take his high horsepower cars and he would just do insane stunts. Him, Travis Pastrana, and it was like the whole idea of it was like pushing things, as beyond limits. Like kill all tires used to be something he used to say. So at this point in time, we had to work so hard that, he would fly down to me. We would put a month's of work on a whiteboard, and we'd stay awake for like 7 days straight to get a month's worth of work done. Because back then we didn't have resources, we didn't have teams, so we were doing everything from code, to the electrical design, to the physical building of the prototypes, to the wiring, to the documentation. And like those could be
So
stories.
3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years
4
later.
10 to 40.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Okay, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so, when him and I met, Amir was originally working on this design. It was Fath Home. It was named Fath Home back in the day. And
So we're talking about the same ozone machine, or are you talking about?
It was the technology.
Okay.
The company is Trinion Labs. We've renamed it Trinion Labs. It used to be called Fath Home.
Yeah.
Fath Home was kind of when we were in stealth. We weren't really seeking customers. We were doing a lot of the validation. And we were also evaluating a lot of different markets. But what it is, it's not so much of a product, it's more of a technology, to where we're using naturally occurring ozone gas, which has a very high virucidal effect to disinfect anything, right?
So what is ozone?
So ozone is a naturally occurring element that happens in nature. Its chemical compound or signature is O3, so 3 oxygen atoms.
Yeah.
It is not a stable element. The way it happens naturally in the environment is typically in rainstorms, right? The lightning splits O2 molecules down into O1. This is into singular oxygen atoms, and then naturally and predictively, some of them form into O3 for anywhere between 5 minutes and let's say 30 minutes, and then it'll eventually break down into O2. So that kind of, a lot of people say like that after a rainstorm smell, you're technically smelling ozone.
That is so cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. So, and O3 is very virucidal.
Yeah.
It has a similar effect to like using bleach.
Really?
Yeah. It's a really powerful compound if you know how to use it. That's why it is so prevalent in the dental industry, right?
Yes.
Because that's where we've had oxygenated water since I believe late 70s, early 80s.
We have that ozonated machine right in the office as well. I mean, I have a lot of patients who call the office and say, when I come in there, can you actually use ozone water for my cleaning? Can you use ozone water when you do fillings or crowns for me? And we do.
Correct.
We do that for them.
Because it naturally kills viruses, fungi, bacteria.
Yeah.
Like just very naturally. So, and it helps prevent against antimicrobial resistance.
Yeah.
Which we've done a lot of studies on that very naturally. So, and it helps prevent against antimicrobial resistance.
Yeah.
Which we've done a lot of studies on that.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the antimicrobial resistant part of it, how it works? Because I know ozone, just like, the same thing a patient asks for, like, hey, I want to use that because it actually kills viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Can you go a little bit into that? And also maybe dive into the fact how it can actually, what product have you created with that, basically, that can help the entire dental and medical industry?
For sure. So when it comes to antimicrobial resistance, so to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory of how we landed on antimicrobial resistance, because when we first came up with the technology, we were actually focused on odors and the fitness space, right?
Really?
Yeah, because me, I'm very big into fitness. And pre-COVID, how I even decided I wanted to work on this project was during COVID, I was building my car in my parents' driveway.
What do you mean building your car?
So I have a race car that I've built.
Oh my God. Kevin
so-
knows how much I love race cars.
yeah. Now one day I'll bring it. The next podcast, I'll bring it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You built your own race car?
Yeah, it's a Nissan 300 ZX.
Do you have a picture you can show me later?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Actually, I went to Dallas Extreme. I was at Dallas Extreme to learn how to do race car with an instructor.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I plan on taking my car to the racetrack. I'm actually putting the engine back in this weekend because I have an oil leak in it. So I fixed the oil leak, so I'm putting it back in. But yeah, so during COVID, obviously everything was closed down.
Yeah.
So
You're like, I'm gonna take on this project.
Yeah, so a lot of my friends just came over, kind of hanging out on my driveway. And one of the big issues I had was my protein shakers and my wrist wraps, because I don't have a great sense of smell. So sometimes I'd leave protein in a shake for like in a protein cup for like a week. And I don't know if you ever smell that smell.
The protein shake. Oh yeah, I have, because I have done it too. Yeah, I'm gonna be guilty of it. I'm not gonna even deny that.
It's very intense. So as a little test, I left a protein shaker with protein in it in my garage in the summer for a month. And then when I had all these people over, I took it out, I rinsed it under the hose water outside for a few seconds. I put it in this machine, the prototype we had built back then. And then I went around, I was just putting it in other people's noses. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, yo, do you smell anything? And they were like, no.
Interesting.
So that's what was our first market. But then once COVID was really going underway, we started reading some more medical journals about how ozone has these virucidal effects for killing, fungus path.
I want to go back to, so for the protein, how did you even know that the ozone can actually take the smell away? Like, were you working on a prototype already, or
we were working on a prototype already.
Okay. All right.
And we were like Amir was spending a significant amount of hours.
2020.
2020, yeah. So like pre-COVID.
Wow.
Pre-COVID. So Amir was working in labs for days at a time. So he was using it and not like able to go home. So he was using the very first prototype, which was like essentially a box and everything kind of jerry-rigged together. Yeah. And he was putting his clothes in it to kill any odors or pathogens that were on it. So he didn't have to go home because that's how intensely we were working at the time.
Yeah.
So then he shipped one of the prototypes to me. And then I started using it for my own fitness stuff. And then, that was like the original origin story of how we were using the technology in the first place, because there's publicly available information that ozone kills odors as well as pathogens, right? So we wanted to go to the odor route because that solved our immediate issues right then and there.
Let's see.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that was scalable into a business, right?
Right.
So then COVID started, and then there were a lot of government grants available to kind of find a solution, right? To find a solution that can help kill COVID, right?
Oh, that's how you get to see, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, like to help reduce the spread. So the government was spending a significant amount of time and energy into it, and then we knew that ozone. Yeah, like it was documented that ozone is very virucidal. So then we partnered with 2 laboratories, right? And then they did testing for us, and we found out that we had, in 15 minutes or less, we had a 99.99% logarithmic reduction in pathogen spores. So then we were awarded an NSF and CDC grant to continue to develop the technology.
That is so cool.
To come up with a commercialization plan of how we can scale this and turn this into a business. So that's how that originally started.
This has been like, 3 years now, right?
Yeah. And
why does it take so long?
Building hardware is very hard. It's very, very hard, especially when you are building something that is geared for where your target market is the medical industry.
Yeah.
And at first, that's where we were focusing on the larger medical industry as a whole.
Yeah.
So like trying to get this technology into the hospitals, into different doctors' offices. There were a lot of military applications we were looking at.
Yeah.
And generally just doing a lot of validation and testing. FDA gaseous ozone is not certified by the FDA for commercial use just yet. So we had to essentially gather a lot of evidence to prove that A, what we've designed is safe,
Yeah.
and B, what we've designed is very effective.
Right.
So that's just taken a significant amount of time.
Well, how did you get to dental?
So a few years ago, we had a very basic website up, and a dentist named Eric Zarensky had reached out to us. And he was.
How did he find out about you guys doing this?
He is a doctor that I would consider I would consider him a very homeopathic doctor, right? And he wants to use homeopathic technologies and medicines within his own practice and clinics.
Yeah.
Purely because of AMR. He doesn't want to be prescribing a bunch of prescriptions and things to his patients. And that we could have a whole podcast on just that topic alone.
Right.
But he reached out to us, and he kind of told us on how ozone can make an impact on the dental space.
Right.
Right. And all the ways it save money, the effect on patient care.
Right.
Increase in quality and infection control within his own practice. So then he kind of became our advisor, right, on how to go after this, market. And we consider the dental market our beachhead, the first industry we want to, go to market with.
That's awesome, because, we as dentists, we would definitely benefit from it.
Yeah.
Now that I understand the technology, because he didn't mention to it a while back, and I was like, what you talking about?
Again, I'm not good with words, so that's all.
Well, no, I think, it's just like, you listen differently or hear differently at different points of life. And that's the truth, and even this, I have 4 sterilization unit in this office. I think it takes, I don't know, anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes. It takes a long time. And your machine, which then, speed and efficacy in dentistry is everything, because, patients come in and they want to get out, and how fast we can actually turn things around. It's really important for us. Yeah. And your machine actually does it in 15 minutes?
15 minutes or less.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot in dentistry though.
So in some of the case studies we've done, we estimate that just because of the turnaround issue, we can actually generate $125K more per dental office on just turnaround speeds.
That's awesome.
And then our device uses no water, no heat, or anything like that. So it's safe to use on anything, any electronics, rubbers, plastics, essentially anything that you can't put in an autoclave.
Which is actually amazing, because, when we take the stuff out of a sterilizer, sometimes it's the steam that's coming out, and we have to let it, come out and let it dry, because we don't want the steam to kind of stay in this instrument to not only, oxidizes it, and at the same time to just, I don't know, for whatever reason, we don't want the stuff to happen. So for it to not have any water, or what did you say?
Water, heat, or steam.
Water, heat, or steam. This is crazy.
Yeah. And it's...
And, I know for those who, want the water and for the filling or the cleaning, and then for it to happen in the actual instrument, I think that's big. That's really huge.
Yeah. And we have, not only does it, affect dental practices in the United States, there's a very large secondary medical market across the globe, right? To where, as well as, let's say, disaster areas or austere environments, to where you don't have the level of, equipment that you typically have in an office. You don't have the autoclaves. You don't have, the consumables and stuff like that. Our machine only uses electricity, and power. Electricity and natural air. So we generate the ozone at the point of use. It's not like a tank you connect to it. We literally use atmospheric air to generate the ozone.
So amazing.
Within a machine. Yeah. We use a technology called corona discharge.
This is so amazing, because even before I went to dental school, we went to a lot of places they call it missionary work, to very distant. I remember seeing a 16-year-old woman, and she's going to the dentist for the first time, but the way the instruments were getting sterilized, it was very hard, because it's so different, and they don't have a sterilizer. So to me, I was looking at it, and I'm in the missionary work, I'm this is not sterile. But the way you're talking about it, even when I I went to a lot of training in Dominican Republic and in Brazil.
Yep.
And even those areas, I mean, there's like, there's 40, 50 doctors, and I'm seeing how the instruments are getting sterilized. And I was like, oh my God, we don't do that in the United States. We're very pristine and to the point. And over there, they don't have the technology, so it's not the same. And but for them to have something like this that doesn't need it only needs is electricity.
Correct.
And they just put it in there and it's done. Like, that's a game changer.
Yeah, and it's low power. You can technically run it off of like a car generator, right, or anything like that.
So no one has an excuse anymore. Can just put a little oil in the car and then that's it. I mean, not the oil, gas. Oil in the car. I mean, make sure it doesn't run anymore, but a little gas in the car and then it's done. Wow, that's amazing.
It's really cool stuff.
Yeah. So now, at what stage of development are you guys? And what level of prototype? Because when I was talking to you last night, I was like, wow, have you patented this? I mean, how do you know somebody else is not going to steal the technology? And the way you answered me, which is very interesting, I want you to share that because it was very cool to hear. I'm like, oh, okay. Because, you hear people like, oh, they stole my idea, this and that. But then if the idea was there for a long time, that's a different story. So can you share that with us a little bit?
Yeah, so patents, there's like... there are certain things and certain use cases that you want to patent for, for the Trinion technology. Since it's technology and not a device, we actually do own the patent family on it. So not only the use case of generating gaseous ozone in an enclosed environment, for example, as I'm sure you know, gaseous ozone is a nasal irritant, and at enough of a concentration, it can be detrimental to your pathways, right? So, and ozone's a very permissible gas, meaning that it'll leak out of any small hole and crevice, right? So our device, we actually generate a negative pressure inside of the chamber. We only go like, we go to like 90% of atmospheric pressure, and we have sensors on it. So like it works the same way whether you're in Denver, which is a mile high, or at atmosphere, or, in Dallas, which is, essentially at sea level, I believe. So when it comes to the patent, right, since this is technology, this technology is applicable to so many different industries.
Yes.
We've looked at, like I said, medical, military, but there's also agricultural. There's also fitness, there is clothing, and fashion and all these different industries. It could be used for,
really cool.
Yeah, it could be used in space applications. So, on the National Space Station, we've spoken to a few different agencies. I can't really say whom, but, like, for example, you can't shower in space, right? So how do you disinfect something? You can use our technology because, again, it's also low power. Because remember, everything in space has to be generated, whether it's power, whether it's the oxygen that the astronauts breathe, anything, that's all generated.
I believe Elon Musk would be interested in your technology in a way.
One day.
SpaceX, hint.
Yeah, now Elon, if you hear this and you want to talk about it, feel free to give me a call. You know what I mean? I'm down to talk.
I bet you can get. I mean, once this gets out there, I mean, a lot of people will be interested in it. You know,
that's our hope.
What do you call it?
A lot of time.
What do you call the valley? What do you call that?
Silicon Valley.
The Silicon Valley.
Yeah, a lot of experience with Silicon Valley.
Oh, you've talked to them?
I mean, I'm a Y Combinator founder, which is it's like the biggest accelerator in the country. So like Gusto went through it, Airbnb went through it. There's a significant amount of companies that have gone through, Y Combinator, which is like a business accelerator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I learned to become a business founder, as opposed to just like an engineer.
Okay, what's the business accelerator?
It's like, so for example, like my company that we went through Y Combinator with, they essentially, taught us how to take something that we perceive to be a product and sell it to customers to be able to provide value, right? Because a lot of engineers will typically be like, oh, we built this cool thing, it does X, Y, and Z, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean it has value to the person buying it, right? And value is perceived as what problem that I personally have that this solves. So turning it from, hey, I built this device, you should use it, to really learning and understanding, doctor, you have this practice here, I've built this thing. How can this, or do you have any of these problems, right? Do you have people calling you, asking you for ozone? Do you have a problem with your sterilization technologies, right? And understanding what your problems are, right?
Yeah, the speed, right?
Do you want to get more turnaround, right? Understanding your problems to see if there's anything that I have built that can alleviate that for you to either save you more money or generate you more money.
Interesting you said that because, I actually end up having to buy 2 different sterilizer because when we do a certain, like a trios scan, the tip of the trios scan, if it goes to one of my autoclave that is not the way it's supposed to be, it actually burns it and it's not allowing it for us to use it anymore. And those tippers are expensive. So I had to actually buy a second sterilizer, 2 of the different ones, so that I can just autoclave a specific one. And you're saying that I can autoclave anything with Trinion prototype, right? The ozonated one has no steam, no heat, no water and stuff, which is pretty awesome.
And then
in like less amount of time.
Yeah. And then not only that, like, as we do more and more testing, we actually can create different algorithms and models for different equipment that you put into it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that there is a burr that you want to put inside the device that needs to be sterilized for, let's say, 25 minutes,
Right.
To make sure that all the pathogens are killed.
Yes.
It's a smart device. Right. So like you can adjust, or we can have it self-adjust based on the materials you put inside of it, right?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but let's say there's like a UV curing light you want to put inside of it that only needs 3 minutes, right? You'd select UV curing light on the screen, and then it would adjust the cycle. It will adjust the cycle automatically because there's a bunch of different parameters we can control.
That's awesome.
Whether it's like we can control the concentration of ozone that we have inside of it. Yes. We can control the length. There's a bunch of smart, intelligent things that the device can do.
Wow.
And it's internet connected.
That is
so you can control it from your cell phone if you wanted to.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Dugoni Dental School?
No.
No? So look them up. The Dugoni Dental School, a lot of dentists went through it. In fact,
Dugoni, where's that at?
I believe it is in, I can't remember. I think it's Chicago, or is it in the Bay Area? I don't remember off the top of my head. Because I've actually never been to it, but the president of the Dugoni Dental School is on our advisory board. So is the ex-CEO of like Dyson Vacuums. We have a retired.
I have a Dyson vacuum in my home.
So like we have a retired colonel that wants to be on our advisory board. Like so like, yeah, we
Someone's gonna hang around with you.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
I feel like a glue.
We have a lot.
And but like, Dorian, can you go home? I'm like, can I just have you here a little longer?
Yeah, no, we're always working in my house. Like, there's people in and out of my house all the time. It's been a unique ride for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of these products. Like even for my car, my race car, I designed and built my own taillights that had their own computers. Like we're designing and building my own headlights right now.
Yeah.
And the idea is like we're building it for, I kind of built it for myself because I like my own stuff, but then I kind of shared it with the community, and the community as a whole wants them, and then that can kind of get into different industries. Like we build a lot. I've done agricultural products, we've done medical products, we've done access devices.
Dental for me.
This is the dental. This is the Trinion device. That's the start of the dental.
I need to stick with that too then. Yeah. There we go. Put you like Dr. K and because here you can launch in my office.
We can. We just got.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
We literally last Monday we had a.
You know what? I've been wanting to have a welcome party. Like for this office, I haven't done it. And maybe the day that I'm doing the welcome thing, when was the launch time? Where's the launch?
We planned. So we just got an investor just committed last Monday, right? So now we're doing a unit run of the latest generation devices, which is that this generation of device was designed specifically for the dental market.
And I can run it on TV too. CBS News.
Like we can have one here.
Yeah.
The plan is to get them in-house by October.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can be on because I was on a CBS News twice already. One for Soleil laser, which during the COVID time when it came out, it was shooting water and laser at the same time and killing bacteria. No shot, no nothing. Mm-hmm. It was the Soleil laser, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was killing 99.9% of the bacteria. So that's how I came out. I got really busy because I actually advertised it on CBS News. And then the second time I was there was sleep apnea, LNAB, and one more thing, and implants. So now it's going to be the third time. I'm going to talk about this.
That's dope. I'm excited for that. We'll make sure you have a machine for them too. We have a few distributors that are here in the DFW area.
Shine.
Not Henry Schein.
You need to give it Henry Schein. I can get you on Henry Schein. I have connections.
That would be awesome. But
And actually, the person, one of the products, like that distiller product, she is my patient. And her husband was my patient. Now her husband went to a cherry company. Her name is Holly. So I can get Holly. And then I was friend with the district manager, which actually left, but I also know the other person, so I can connect you with people.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'd be very interested in having conversations with them.
Yeah,
I feel like they're the kind of company that would want us
Henry
to be
Schein is
bigger.
good. Yeah.
I know every dentist we've spoken to, Henry Schein has come up all the time.
Yeah,
and like one of the things,
too.
Yep. And then one of the things is like what I've noticed personally, right? Because we've spoken to dozens upon dozens of dentists across the United States.
Yeah.
Is like a lot of their practice, like a lot of dentists, like you're a very unique case, right? To not only you invest in the business, you know how to grow a business, you do have multiple locations. That's not common, right? A lot of them just have their one practice. A lot of them are not like, they don't have business degrees, right? So they don't understand.
I don't have business degree.
Yeah. Again, you're rare, right? You seem to say you're very entrepreneurial minded. You're very forward thinking.
Yeah.
And you could tell that by all the technology and all the investment you've done into this facility.
Yeah, because I get bored and I'm like, what's next?
Yeah. Like,
what are we doing?
Not common. So like a lot of there's a disconnect between the people who are ordering a lot of stuff off Henry Schein, right? That are constantly replacing things, and the dentist who's typically paying for it. It's like, all right, I'm getting a $15,000 Henry Schein bill, this month. And they look at it as normal, right? But our job is to go into there and be like, hey, you can actually cut this bill in half or into 2/3 by using this technology, and here's how. So like that's one.
Yeah, because when they come and do a maintenance, which is happened on the others. Every time they come, it's like a $475 an hour charge. Yeah. Plus whatever the fucking part is. And they come in and like, oh, we have to order parts. I'm like, well, I already told you what the problem was. Why don't you go order the parts and come with the part? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it drives me crazy. So we talk about Trinion unit, right? Mm-hmm. And so is there specific maintenance that's required, or someone has to come in and fix the unit if it goes down, or how does it really work? Because, the sterilizers that I have, sometimes it needs maintenance or a special type of parts, and like time that it goes down, and parts that needs to be ordered, and the cost associated with somebody coming in and fixing the problem. So like, how could you fix my problem not having to go through all that steps and delays and waiting? Because if that happens, then that means I have to schedule less patient because of what's happening before I can get the equipment up and running. I mean, luckily in my office I have 4, but that's happened in my other office, which I only had 2. And so it became a little bit of a, cumbersome. But how do you guys solve that problem with speed, efficacy, and time management?
So we actually designed the device to be self-maintained, meaning you do not need any, specialized tech to come in and fix anything the equipment.
That is a game changer. Yeah. Okay.
The device itself has 2 consumables. There's the ozone generator plate, as we call it. Yeah. As well as we have a patented scrubber system that we've designed and engineered. So the way it works is from a, core technology standpoint, which kind of differentiates us from any other gaseous products, ozone-based products on the market, is once we've generated the gas inside of this, inside of the volume, right? How do you remove it and make it safe to open? So we essentially designed what we're calling a scrubber system. Mm-hmm. So we actually pull the ozone from within the chamber, and then we pass it through our scrubber system, and that breaks it down from O3 back to O2. And that cartridge unit does need to be replaced.
Mm-hmm. How often?
It really depends on how often you use it. So like I said, it's a smart device. We can detect once this scrubber cartridge is starting to become saturated, right? And then once it gets to a point where the scrubber cartridge is no longer,
usable,
the machine won't operate anymore.
Wow.
But
that's great.
Yeah, you could just literally grab another scrubber cart off your shelf, right? And then you open up the door, you put a new one in, and the machine will start working immediately.
Which is great, because that means if it's used up, then it's not going to work. So that means it's still going to sterilize properly if it's working. But if it's not working and it's not sterilizing properly, it's just not going to work. It's going to shut down, which is great.
Yep. So that we have that safety built into it. We're monitoring how much ozone we're releasing to the atmosphere, and everything is under FDA limits. We have sensors inside of it to see how much ozone we're generating. Mm-hmm. And then the device as a whole is built very robustly. There's not much on it. To date, we have not had machines break. It's always the consumables that need to be replaced. Mm-hmm. So part of our business model is we went with a razor/razor blade model.
Yeah.
You pay for the device,
Yeah.
which is in this case the razor blade. I mean
Yeah.
the razor.
Yeah.
And then you can either buy the plates or the ozone or the filters, one at a time, or you pay, or our customers pay, a yearly subscription charge
Yeah.
to where we just give them all the all the parts to replace as part of this, and then they can replace it themselves in their own offices. And every consumable that needs to be replaced, you can replace it in under 10 minutes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and it's very straightforward. And then since it is an internet connected device, we're always sending machine updates, right? We're always updating the software, we're always updating the firmware. So the more things you pass through it, the more feedback we get from our customers, the smarter the machine gets over time.
Wow, it's AI technology, so that's great.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
It is cool stuff. Wow, Reggie, this is amazing. You're young, and you actually not only have one company, but he has other companies as well. But this has been an amazing interview.
Thank you.
Podcast, I would say. And then I am excited to also learn more when we come back in about 3 weeks and do with your co-founder Amir another podcast, and he'll share more. He's very down to earth, so he doesn't and I'm sure Amir comes in and we'll speak more of it.
Yeah.
But
there's way more outgoing than I am.
Yeah. And so hopefully I get to be the first one. I want to be the first one to demo it in my office. We can do it. We can do a live video on it as well, how it works. And then also the connection with the dental industry, dental company as well, because I do have, people in there, and so they can come and see it that day, or we can introduce it to them and you can talk with them directly, because I think a lot of dentists will be happy to know that they don't have to pay for the maintenance costs, and also for a machine that's probably going to cost less than what we already use for the patient, and it's actually more sanitary and less issue with airway and breathing and stuff as well. So
like you mentioned, for example, that it's $495 an hour to have a tech come in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're doing that multiple times a year. The subscription model for the device is $2,000 a year. That's 4 hours of getting somebody to come in and do it, and you can maintain it yourself over the full course of the year. And that also includes all the documentation, how to do it, all the materials themselves, as well as, full support from beginning to end the entire time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how much is the machine by itself?
So the machine by itself is $5,000 right now. You have a lot of market data that says that dentists would be willing to pay $5,000 for something like this.
Oh, yes, because we know how much the sterilizer costs.
How much?
It can go anywhere between $7,000, $8,000 to $11,000.
Yeah. A lot of the people who are going to be doing sales for us are dentists themselves. They have their own practices, right? But that we also incentivize them to want to sell this device, right? And then, Henry Schein and those organizations are kind of in a class of their own. And I don't think we have the volume yet that we would be appetizing to them right now. But it's also a leverage play, right? Because if I go to Henry Schein right now, they're going to be like, why should I care? They're going to want to essentially rake us over the coals, I guess is the terminology of they're going to want to they're going to be like, oh, you've come to us, you're nobody, right? So we'll buy them for you for $500 and then we'll do whatever we want with it. But if we start to get a following and get a lot of traction, then the leverage starts to shift, right? True. It's like Henry Schein could come to us, and then we can, a lot of the conversation is now more mutually beneficial.
Wow. We're so amazed by how much you've shared and your journey all along. And it's been, you've lived only 36 years of your life, and you've accomplished so much. And this sterilization unit that is going to be distributed in dental and medical industry, which I think he has given me the chance with his co-founder to be the first one that launches in my practice, hopefully in October time. And it's ozonated chamber without any heat or water or am I missing anything?
Chemicals.
Or chemicals. Oh my God, that's more important. Yeah. Heat, water, or chemicals. That is going to be revolutionary, and it's going to help kill bacteria, viruses, and fungus without any chemical involved. So thank you so much, Reggie, for sharing your journey.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun. Official first podcast in the books.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the next one when Amir's down in town.
And stay tuned, you guys, because we're going to have in about 3 weeks with his co-founder, Amir, and they're going to share more stories. And we're going to be doing a live video launch, hopefully in sometime in October. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, man.
Anytime.
Thanks for coming to the podcast. And stay tuned for another episode of Tea Time with Dr. K.